So welcome everybody to another edition of the UX Writing and Content Design Meetup. Today we'll be having a speaker based in Berlin, Anil. I'll let him introduce himself in a minute. So first of all, just for those of you who are new around here, we are a UX Writing and Content Design Meetup. Lara, Tam, and I, we co-host this show, and we're based in Switzerland. Due to, or thanks to Corona, we've been going international these past 1.5 to 2 years now, which is great because we get to hear from speakers all around the world. So we're always looking for speakers and sponsors. Just as a preliminary info, if you feel like you have anything to say regarding, the topic of UX writing and content design, feel free to reach out to us anytime. We're very happy to hear from you. We also have a donation page. We'll be sharing the page at the very end again, but it's a Ko-Fi page where you may donate a coffee for $3 to us. But it's absolutely not mandatory, of course. All right, so on to the organizational part. If you have any questions during the talk, please save them for the end. So I think Anil has a special way that he's going to be collecting the questions you've got. If you've got any technical issues or anything else, please just throw your questions into the chat. We will be monitoring it. All right, so today we've got Anil here. Anil is based in Berlin. He has worked as a technical product manager. He's also a mentor for front-end for designers. He's a community builder. He prototypes. I think you also have your own meetup, Anil, right? So maybe some of you guys have heard him before. And basically, all in all, Anil has a lot of experience in the recruiting field and in how it's going to tell us today about how to land your dream job in UX writing and give us some tips in that. So yeah, be prepared to hear some success stories and some tips in that regards. And with that, I think I can already hand over to you, Anil. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm really excited. I think so I'm going to share my screen. Let me know. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see the Google Doc. And now we can see your Google Slides. Okay,
I'm going to share the slide as well here. Okay, the docs are important. I want to use the docs today. Let's collaborate here, and also if you have any questions, feel free to drop here. And I would like to use this Google Docs because I want to talk about, or I want to demonstrate the power of this online collaboration, which really helped me a lot, and I'm going to talk about that later. Without further ado, let's get started. And just wanted to hear from you. Let's keep this. This is not a typical talk. I'm talking for all 30 minutes. I want to keep this kind of a workshop style where I also ask a lot of questions. I also want to learn from you. So I would like to ask you, what do you like to get out from this session? Do you have any specific goal from this session? Hey, I joined this for this. This is the reason I joined. I want to know more information. Do you have any specific goal or anything you would like to know from this session so that I can also try to answer, or I want to try to turn my presentation towards that direction? Please let me know in the chat. So what do you want to expect from this session? Don't feel shy. Please write it on the chat.
Or in the Google Doc, right?
Yeah, it can be on the Google Docs also. You can use the Google Docs as well. That's also should be fine. I'm just gonna see if there are any. Okay, so I see already a question. That's good. how can I get into UX writing without any prior experience in the UX field? That's good. General job hunting tips. The portfolio. Okay, very good. Real world examples that as hands-on possible. Should I build? Okay. Okay, definitely we can at least I got some sense. And maybe it's on the chat. Can you also say because some of them asked about like the portfolios are. Can you tell me, like, can you also introduce yourself? Like, hey, I'm a UX designer. I'm a UX writer. No, I'm not a UX writer. For example, I'm also not a UX writer. I never had a title as a UX writer, but the tips I'm going to talk and the techniques I applied is also applicable for you. So maybe after this, maybe can you also introduce yourself? Like, hey, I'm a UX designer. For example, I'm a technical product manager. Please let me know in the chat. That would be great. Chat also in the intros. Thank you, C. So you could also write it here. I think just the title should be sufficient, like UX designer, UX writer. And again, I'm trying this also, I'm trying the Google Docs for the first time. So this may not be the 100% smooth. Because the reason I want to show how powerful it is. It really helped me in my getting my latest job. I'm going to talk about that later. Okay, I see there's a graphic designer, front-end web designer, social media manager, copywriter. This is great. Okay. Let's wait for one more minute and let's see this. Okay. Meanwhile, you can keep writing, but I want to show one real example. Oops, it's loading. This is a real email I got from one of the employer. How many of you are familiar with these rejection emails, generic rejection emails you get when you not get selected? It's really you really feel disappointed. Like, hey, this is a generic email you get when you're trying to apply for the job. And I want to tell you that this is not your problem. This is not your problem. Getting this is the way the recruiting systems are designed. For example, oops, I'm seeing some kind of a delay with my slides. Let me see. Oops, no. Oops, no. Okay. I hope you're also seeing the same slide as me. Video interview for a senior product manager. Here you see this important, like you see the date here. It's on April last year. And I informed the company I was doing the interview process. In the middle of the interview process, I said like, hey, I don't want to continue the interview process. Unfortunately, I got accepted from another company, so I don't want to continue with this. And you see here, the same company wrote me this message, which is a generic message. I rejected it. It's not them. I rejected it. And they also sent me this message. It's just like 3 days difference. And they said me like, after reviewing all the applications, we will get to inform your application is not selected for further stages. It's not they decided, it's me decided, but they have a general software which sends you that information. So don't care, don't get disappointed when you get such auto-generated emails. So it's really kind of feels really bad when you get these emails. So I want to treat treat this job hunt experience as a growth opportunity. What I mean by growth opportunity, is like, this is a real email. Okay, when I get rejected, I send them an email. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Is there anything I can do to make myself more attractive for the position like this in the future? So usually you don't get the response from the recruiter. Usually, like out of 10, maybe 7 to 6, you don't get response. At least 2 to 3, you get a response like, hey, this is the reason the other candidates were quite more suitable for this role, and this is the reason why you didn't get it. So this is a good opportunity to improve your resume. This is a good opportunity to improve your experience. This is a good way to learn, improve what's wrong with your resume or with your experience. So this feedback is really, really important. So in Germany, like as far as I know, is some recruiters don't want to write in your email like why they rejected you. So because they might get into some legal issues, so they shouldn't really give the valid reason why they rejected and why they took to other candidates. What they do is, my slides are really slow. I don't know why. Let's wait for a second. I don't know, it's got stuck. Okay, yeah, I hope you can also see this. This is again also a real email. I got it from the recruiter when I got rejected for the role. They were quite happy to give me a feedback via call, via phone, because it's not tracked. It's not tracked somewhere they can present it. So you can also ask when you get rejection emails, you can ask like, hey, this is my email. If you want to quickly share me the feedback why I got rejected, so that I can be a better fit for this position like this in the future. So always ask for feedback. This is the best way you can learn what went wrong, what you can improve for your next opportunity or next company where you're applying for. Okay, so after this, okay, this is my introduction. I think they already briefly introduced me, even though I don't have any title as a UX recruiter. I worked with more than like nearly 80 to 90 students at CareerFoundry from past 2.5 years. I helped them to get into the world of front-end web design and designers. So I learned a lot about their struggles and pain points. So I definitely want to share those insights here. And one of my previous roles, I also worked with the documentation team at Commerce Tools, where I work closely with technical writers. I know how the technical writers work and their workflows. And I also run a community in Berlin. There's a saying in Berlin, if you're in Berlin, like it's before COVID time, if you're in Berlin, you don't go to a restaurant for dinner, you go to a meetup. We have so many meetups for every topic, literally every topic, UX, front-end design, any technology. It's such a great community place. So had a great opportunity to build a community here called product prototyping. I can also share you that link later. I kind of reduced in this COVID time, but I'm doing more speaking opportunities. But yeah, I have that experience, the networking experience, and I also built a couple of conversational interface, both voice interface and also the chatbots for Slack. And I worked closely with UX writers and how they think, how they approach. And I have also changed a couple of times my jobs in this pandemic time. So that's where I want to give you my tips. And I also talked, I think I gave 3 talks last year about this topic, the job hunting topic. I don't know why. For some reasons, I don't need any preparation to give this talk. I really enjoy talking about this. So that's why I reached out to the UX writing team, like, hey, I can share my knowledge on this. So I really enjoy talking about that. And I also want to exit this. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I also put this link, so you can also you will get this link. So you have my talks. I've already talked, so you can get those talks. So those links are given there. So you're gonna get that. Okay, let's get to the serious part. Enough of my introduction. So the competition, it's very competition. Like it's very competitive. Like whenever you're applying for it, this is just an example. If you go to LinkedIn, I'm talking from the Germany. Like you can also change to Switzerland or any of the location your interest. You see here one day ago, this job is posted, and you see here 394 applicants. Yes, I think the LinkedIn treats anybody who clicks on apply. So it's very competitive. Like the kind of roles, right? The kind of the things we're working on, front end, the UX. You're competing with a lot of people. You're not the only one who's applying for the job. There's so many other people are applying for this job. And this is just only one platform. Think about Glassdoor, think about Indeed, think about any other Zing, other platform. People will be applying directly from those platforms as well. So it's very competitive, right? And question is, how can we skip the competition? How can we skip the competition? Any ideas or any thoughts? Any thoughts you would like to share? How can we skip the competition? Like, do you have any ideas? Like, hey, there are a lot of competitions out there. Like, what can we do? What can we do as a job hunter? Like, what can we do?
Personal
Find a
reference.
company. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, that's good. Approach companies directly. Okay, I'm just reading the chat. Find a company I like and apply proactively. Okay. Any other? Someone said personal references. Yes, I think that's great. The personal references are definitely great, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to show you a real example of personal reference. I have one slide for that, which happened like yesterday or the day before yesterday. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to show you the. How many of you know a Frontify, a company called Frontify? It's a Swiss-based company. It's based in St. Gallen, if I remember correct. I'm talking about 5 years ago. I got an interview for this Frontify just because I just wrote a usability case study. And also I never had any title as a UX designer. I was a developer. I never had a title as UX designer. I got job interview. I got an opportunity to talk to the CEO of the company and the CTO of the company just because of this article. You can also find this article in my Medium blog. All I did was I took their website. I just went through their, what are the usability challenges they have? What are the target users? And what could be the solution? Along with my application, I just sent this case study. Hey, this is my case study. This is what I think you can improve your website. This is the problems I see, usability problems. So this got me directly into get an opportunity to talk to the CEO of the company. Even though I didn't get into, didn't get the job because of the visa issues, other issues, but I got a chance to talk to the CEO of the company just because all I did was I took some time, I applied my knowledge of UX into their product, and I presented them as a blog post. I got into the interview. You can definitely do this. There is other example I want to show. This is not the only one example. I also did this similarly for Stack Overflow. if you have no, Stack Overflow is one of the most commonly used platform for developers to find solutions for their technical problems. I did a similar approach, and it's also one of the hardest thing to get interviews. So by presenting this along with my resume, I separate myself from competition. I'm already showing I'm valuable to the company. I can solve their problem. This really kind of separates you from competition. Okay, enough of my talk. Okay, if are there anybody used it? Like I said, I gave talk last year. One of the attendees really used that. And I think she was junior. She never had UX experience. She never had a UI UX experience. She was just followed this case study, and she got an interview just because she presented this case study. And you could see here, she wrote me on my LinkedIn message, she could get the interview, and the interviewer said they could consider her only because of the blog post, only because of she wrote the case study. So the case study is like really, really powerful. Like if you can already show them, you can solve their problem. Another example, one of my students at CareerFoundry, he was doing a lot of interviews, and what he did was he wrote his case study, what he got from the interviews, and he analyzed how he solved this problem, how he took user persona, what empathy applied, and what problems he had. He created wireframes, and he presented it, and he wrote it on the medium.com article. And he also got, luckily he got the job there. That's great. But yeah, it's about talking about your process and talking about you can solve their problem, presenting them. That separates you from applying traditionally your resume. Okay, another example of, this is a case study from a junior product designer from Australia. Jasmine talked about the color evolution of Google Maps. And Jasmine doesn't work at, she doesn't work at Google. And you don't have to work at Google to write about Google Maps. So you can think about any products you use every day as a digital product, and you can talk about their user experience, what you like and what you don't like, and what you can improve. How can you apply your skills? That can really, you can start applying your skills and showcase your skills. And for example, I think someone told me that what makes separates from competition. There was a job ad. There's a job ad last week, and somebody tagged me, "Hey, you are a good fit for this position." And they just told me that they know that I'm good at technical product management, and they just referred me, and they know the founder. And for me, getting that introduction and talking to the founder of this company is a very straightforward thing. All I have to do is I have to, hey, I'm interested, just get me that. To get to that place, you have to show your value and what you're good at. And the person who referred me knows that I'm best at that. I can really bring value there to the company. So definitely, I think the building network and having a good network definitely kind of separates you from competition, can cut down a lot of unnecessary interview steps, can cut down your interview steps to get your job. Okay, one question was, I think in the chat also asked, and a lot of people have also asked me that, what if I don't have experience? Okay, I want to be a UX writer, but I don't have any experience. What should I do? What should I do? How can I prove myself I'm good at this? Because we saw there's a competition. To separate from competition, we have to write a blog post, we have to write some case study, but I don't have any experience. How can I gain experience? And what I want to ask you a question here. What are some of the good, excellent UX writing examples you have seen online? Maybe you can write here maybe if you can use, maybe if you can use this place, that would be great. So that we can also take this as a notes and we can use it later. Let me know, like, what are some of the best UX writing examples online? For example, it can be some websites you think, hey, Netflix is great because their UX, the copy, the micro copy is great. Okay, I see a Slack. I'm feeling lucky in Google search. That's good. Any other products you use, like you feel like you feel they're really good at that? And do you also want to write, like, why do you think, for example, why do you think Slack as a great UX writing example? Like, why do you think it's a great example? Very recognizable brand, personality, consistent throughout all touch points. The release notes, great. Yeah, I would take these kind of points, like if you see these learnings, right, like from these kind of learnings, how can we apply into the products we are using or products we are building? Can we learn from these great writings? Can we learn from them and apply to our work? Talk about that work, like, hey, this is a great example. This is what I learned from that. We can apply that same principle to the product we use or product we are building. So that's a great way of learning, great way to get some inspiration. Okay, Lemonade insurance website. Felt like I was talking to a friend. That's great, that's great. Yeah, so maybe in this case, how can we make our websites more conversational? How can we build websites more conversational? So conversational, having a writing more conversational style can help us. These are some good examples. Okay, let's come to what are some bad examples you have seen? Like, hey, these are they're doing really bad. There are some not great examples. Like we can improve, we can make this better. Because I also have an example. I want to talk about that. Please let me know. Please write it here. Some bad examples. While we're talking about bad examples, I want to talk about the bad example. You see here, I'm based in Berlin, Germany. I've been living here in Berlin since April 2015. And when I came for the first time, like I was traveling with the public transportation, the ticket that talks about reduced fare. Can somebody tell me what's the reduced fare means? Because you're a UX writer, so I feel like what they could have done. The reason why I'm asking is I traveled with wrong ticket. I end up paying 40 euros to the police because I was paying a wrong ticket. I was carrying with the wrong ticket. But I didn't know what the reduced fare means is. And this is where like, I feel this is a bad UX. This is a bad UX writing example. I don't know what the reduced fare means. What's the standard fare? What's the reduced fare? I was thinking that reduced fare because my travel is 2 stations. I don't have to take the long, it's definitely less than 120 minutes. I have to get on in a couple of stations. So I was always getting this ticket and I was traveling with this. But, you know, I'm just checking the chat here. I want to give you, okay. So, yeah, if anybody knows what's the reduced fare means, okay, that somebody said, Germany has bad writing everywhere, especially in the rapid transit. Okay, okay. The reduced fare means it's for the kids less than 14 years. Like it's for the kids, and nowhere on the screen it says it's for the kids. Especially when somebody has come new, especially somebody who's coming tourists are coming, they're not familiar with the terminologies, and I ended up paying 40 euros. But I'm not the only person. Like I heard similar stories tourists coming from America, tourists coming from outside, they have a really bad experience because it's not their fault. We didn't travel without the ticket. We traveled with a ticket, but I don't know whom to blame. But it's like, if we had a good UX, a good micro copy, we could have saved that, end up paying this amount. Yeah. The other example, some of the good examples I really like is, I see a lot of places nowadays, the cookies, the modern 2022 websites, GDPR, always having these cookies. I like this example because it's talking as if like someone said, right? It's a conversational style. Yes, I'm happy. It's your choice. Are you happy to accept cookies? So I felt like somebody's talking to me. So I felt this is a good example of the UX writing. And also Notion. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Notion. I really like their writing. There's a system maintenance. There's some upgrade schedule. So it's, again, somebody is talking to me. It's not somebody update on an alert. It's actually some human is talking to me. It's a conversational style. It's a good writing example. Again, Stripe. If you don't know Stripe, it's a payment platform. And here you see here, they're writing it's really nice way. When I'm trying to log in, this helps prevent robots from accessing your Stripe account from other. This is more meaningful, and this is more like very well informed, like why they're putting it here, the reason behind it. These are some good examples we can definitely learn, get some inspirations. And yeah, look out for things. Look out for things you're using every day. Think about what they're doing good. Talk about it. Like what's the best thing they're doing, and what you can apply in your products. That same principles. Can you make your product better using those principles? Basically using those ideas. That's a good blog post. It can be a good blog post, and that can increase your experience by writing some blog post, some case study. And other examples, like other way to get an experience is through the looking into the UX portfolios. One of the examples are like, do you know some of the best UX portfolios for the UX writers? So maybe we can also put one more column for the portfolios, so we can also share you. We can see some examples there. You can see some examples. Best portfolios you have. Do you know any UX writer's portfolio where you think like, hey, I really like this UX portfolio? Do you know anything? Please let me know here in the comments. If not, I'm gonna share you. Anyways, I also looked into some of those top UX writers portfolio, and what I noticed, I'm just checking the time, so I want to make this a little bit faster. Okay, the question is, what do you expect from a UX writer portfolio? Like, what are some of the things? What I noticed some common patterns in UX writer portfolio. I'm going to show those examples, and also going to share you the top 9 UX portfolios I found online. I'm going to share. I've already shared actually. It's already in the link, so you can see my top recommendations. So I'm going to explain what all those things I observed. But can you please let me know in the comments or chat, what do you really like expecting from a UX writer portfolio, or what do you expect? Please let me know in the chat. So I'd also like to know. Let me know what do you think. What are you getting? Do you want to see some more UX process, or you want to see some examples? What kind of things you're expecting from a UX writer portfolio? Okay, I don't see anyone is writing, so I can show you some examples. So I saw, okay, I see one chat example. Demonstration of micro copywriting skills. Okay, that's good. Case study with narrative of how problem was solved. That's good. Yeah, one of the, what I commonly saw from these top UX writer portfolios is real examples. They're not talking about all the UX process. They're talking about, they're putting the screenshots of what they designed. So that really gives you kind of a sense like, hey, this is what I worked on, and this is what I improved, and how easy it is to understand. And there's one more example I saw, a Spotify example. You could really see that how bad before and how the UX writer improved the user experience, how they made it really easy to understand. So this before and after example is also a great way to tell a story, why UX writing is important, why microcopy is really important, how it can enhance the user experience. This is a great way to tell a story. So these examples, and I think somebody wrote on the chat that explaining the reasons behind why they took these suggestions, why they took these microcopy examples. This is also a good way to showcase the reasoning behind it. So those are some of the common patterns I saw. Okay, coming to the pandemic part, the next part, the pandemic part, like how you can take advantage of pandemic. So like I said in my introduction, I changed my roles a couple of times during this last 2 years. How can you take advantage of pandemic to get your job, what you want? So first of all, location. First of all, previously, before pandemic, I used to try only the jobs in Berlin. Now, like if I want to try a job, literally I can apply, since I still wanted to stay in Germany, for example, I can apply in Munich, I can apply in Frankfurt, Düsseldorf. Most of them, I'm not worried like about my location. I'm inside Germany, that's fine for them. And this is not the case before. So that increases your opportunity. So that way, literally, like I also kind of, during the last month in my job interview process, I also had a couple of opportunities from Amsterdam. Some of them are completely remote, 100% remote opportunities. And this is really increases your job opportunities, the number of jobs you can get. This is a huge advantage. So I highly encourage you to check out remote jobs and also expand. Don't limit yourself to the location where you are. That's a big advantage with this pandemic situation. So this is the best time to make your switch off your job, like whatever you want, still staying in your place. There's a high possibility of getting the job you want compared to before COVID, where it was really hard to get a job, like because of the relocation and all those things. And taking advantage of online interviews. The advantage I want to talk about is the Google Docs. What I'm doing is in the interviews is I'm preparing a Google Docs with a lot of questions about the company, about the role, about the person who is interviewing me. I'm preparing all the questions. It shows I'm prepared. It shows I did a research. And during the interview, they asked me at the end, like, hey, do you have any questions? Yes, I do have a question. Just like how I shared you Google Docs, I shared a Google Docs. And most of them, like I would say out of 10, 9 of them are really surprised. And 9 out of 10, they really appreciate. That sets apart from my competition, like, hey, this is a great job. Like, this looks really great. I've never seen this, somebody's doing this. I did a research about the company. I put a link to the blog post they wrote. I put a link about their recent fundraising. Hey, what does it mean to that role? Like, how does it bring to the vision? What does it ask all the questions which are I couldn't find answers to them. And I was taking notes during the interviews. That shows I'm listening to them, and they can also see what I'm taking notes. And the good part is you have this document, and you can use this document for your next interview, next step. And you can see, hey, what are the challenges in this position? How do you measure success in this role? And you can get all the information, and you can prepare for that. And also you can prepare for your job. Like once you get the job, and this is a kind of a good document, a good summary, you can take it. And this is a great way, which really helped me a lot to keep organized and synchronized with information, which really helped both the recruiter and also myself. This is a big win for me, and there's a big kind of separation from a competition. Another thing is LinkedIn open to work. The LinkedIn or the use of LinkedIn. LinkedIn also helped me, for example, my previous roles. I got previous roles because of LinkedIn. The recruiters reached out to me, and I didn't reach out to them. The recruiter reached out to me, and it's really powerful tool. I also encourage you to use LinkedIn in an efficient way. You see here, like I just put just before the event talk, I just searched for what's the UX writer demand in the last month, since last month in Germany. You see here, there are so many openings out there. So it's like really hot. Just go for it. Try to use the LinkedIn the right way. And one thing which really also helped me in LinkedIn, especially is if you know, there's a show recruiters your open to work option. This is really good because I can choose all LinkedIn members can see, or only recruiters can only see, because I don't wanna feel bad for my current employer, and I don't want to show this all LinkedIn members. So I choose recruiters only, so that recruiters who are interested, they can see that I'm open for new position. And this is a great way. And also increases when potential recruiter searching for UX recruiter in your location, your profile will be on a top list, and they reach out to you for this role. And you can also customize like what kind of role you want and what kind of job locations you are there. So this is a great tip. If you're not using this, I would highly recommend you to use this. You're gonna see a lot of messages coming from recruiters once you get this. This is a great useful, especially if you're looking for a job very actively. Okay, the other thing, the last part. I'm at the last part. What I wanted to tell you, or what I understood from them, is the recruiters, especially the hiring managers. The hiring managers are your potential mentors. They want you to succeed. And you can ask them a lot of the questions during the interviews, like, hey, how can I make this next step? How can I prepare for the next step? For example, this is a real email from one of my hiring manager from the previous roles. So they really helped me to prepare for the final step. If you ask them, they really want you to succeed. They're going to give you tips, especially even the recruiters. They're going to give you a lot of tips, like, hey, what questions they can ask during the next interviews, what I should prepare, what blog posts I should read, what is the cultural values for this, what are questions I can expect from this round. So please ask questions to the recruiter and also the hiring manager so that you can succeed in the next stages, which really helped me a lot. Okay, with that, I'm open for questions, but before that, it would be really nice if you can take some 1 minute to fill a feedback. Would be really nice so that I can improve this session for the next time. Okay, now I think I'm open for questions.
Thanks so much, Anil. I think I can take over from here, and I've just got your Google Doc open actually, and I think quite a a couple of questions came together there. And I feel like you've already answered a lot of them, but maybe some of them, we can start from there.
We also have someone raising their hand. Sorry.
Oh, perfect. Well, then let's ask. Yeah, go for the raised hand question first. I think that's a nice intro into our Q&A. So I think Joel.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Fiona. Great talk. I wanted to ask. My own research has always. It seems that UX writing is very, very seldom separated from UX design. So I've never actually even seen a job offer for specifically UX writer. It's always UX design, UX interface. What is the UX strategy, etc. Since this meetup is specifically about UX writing, where does one? Do you just assume that if they have a posting for a UX designer, they also need writers? And yeah, that's my question.
Okay. If I understand your question, I think you said there's even though the job title says about UX writer, but it's not just only the writing job, it also comes with a design part of it, right? Did I understand your question right?
Oh, excuse me. Right. I have seen a dearth of offers for UX writers compared to UX designers. And you had that slide about competition, but it wasn't specifically for UX writers. It was for UX in general. And I get that. And I'm wondering, is it only certain companies that actually break out the job title UX writer, or does one assume that if they have a UX lead designer or head of UX, that they are hiring writers as well?
Okay. I have to be honest here. I never worked as a UX designer as my role, but what I can tell you from this, definitely, I think there is going to be a lot of roles, which is day by day, it's increasing. The UX writer role I hear time to time. And also, I worked with conversational design, building conversational design for chatbots and voice interface. That's even more powerful. The copywriting, the micro copy is even more powerful there. Definitely these rise of conversational interface, which definitely give a lot more weightage to the UX writers. So I see definitely it's growing, but you are right that it needs some maturity and knowledge education to the stakeholders and the company to understand the benefit, the value of UX writing. So that has to be, that has to spread. So I'm hoping that in the coming years, the companies will recognize the importance of UX writing. I think in the comments also, someone wrote, Dropbox tend to have UX writer jobs, Microsoft also. Yeah, hopefully we see more examples in the future.
Yeah, maybe Joel, just as a input here also from the chat. So Austin mentioned, Dropbox and Microsoft and like the bigger companies I feel are ready for UX writers or are actually actively already looking for UX writers. Whereas I guess the smaller companies are still on the UX design train rather than the writing train. And then Michelle mentioned, she recommends signing up for email newsletters from UX writing communities. And then she lists a few in the chat if you want to go check those. And I agree with what Anil said, just as a UX writer myself, I think it's been coming up in the past couple of years. I mean, if you go and Google UX writing jobs, like you mentioned, Anil, on LinkedIn, I think they're coming up more and more. And maybe this is just a personal out of experience kind of thing, but if people are looking for UX designers, then they definitely also need UX writers. They just don't know it yet. So like maybe be creative and say, look, design is not the main topic I'm focused with, but I'm a UX writer, and seeing as you're looking for designers, I'm very positive that you also need writers. Maybe go for a from that angle somehow.
Cool. Yeah.
As a quick,
I think this is really good question. What I can suggest you from this community is why don't you collaborate? Why don't you collaborate with a job board? Is there a possibility to put a job board for UX writers? Because I've seen other communities are doing the same thing. Like, hey, I see this is a community, Meetup community, where most of the UX writers are joining, most of the aspiring UX writers are joining. So for them, all these companies, your community is the best place to get the potential UX writers. So ideally, I would expect they should support your community. And I think having some kind of a job board with all the latest would be a great idea. So I'm just a thought. Yeah, any other questions?
I mean, I'm just going through the Google Doc, Anil, and I think like a couple of questions, like I said, we've already talked about. Some of them are very UX writing specific that maybe we can tackle together a bit later. But wait, I saw an interesting one. So this one here, number 9, if I do a personal project with the UI I create that I did UX writing for, is that going to cut it in the eyes of a relatively reputable company looking for a junior to mid-level UX writer? Do you think you have a stance on that or a tip? Or... Okay,
let me see. If I do a personal project with a UI, I create that, I did a UX writing for it. Is that going to cut it in the eyes of relatively reputable company looking for a junior to mid-level UX writer? Let me try to rephrase if I understand the question right. So whoever is this person, so you created some of your side projects, and you created a UI along with that. You created the micro copy or UX writing part of it. Is that going to be get me a job in a junior or a mid-level UX writer in a reputable company? Is that the question?
Yeah, I asked that question. So if that's not clear, I can elaborate.
Okay. So let's say, example, you have some 5 side projects, which is on UX writing. You have case studies, and let's say, I'm just taking an example. I'm not a fan of any of these reputable companies. Let's say Google. So you wanna get a job as a junior or a mid-level UX writer at Google. I'm just taking an example. So with you're saying, is it possible to get with your side projects, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm asking, like, if my full-time job work portfolio doesn't reflect a lot of UX writing I've done, what are the steps, right? And one thing I've heard recommended in other talks is create a personal project. But would maybe not on the scale of a Google or a Dropbox, but like in your experience, would a reasonably decent company accept something like that as a primary example of what I would have to offer?
Yeah. I can definitely talk about it, because from my experience with my students, they're coming from boot camp. They always take a very, very specific niche project which nobody heard of, the products which nobody heard of. I can give you an example of Jasmine. Jasmine as a project, hopefully I can also give you a link. Jasmine as a project, I highly recommend, like, for example, I've used Google Maps myself, and you might have familiar with Google Maps. When I write a case study about Google Maps, you understand, I understand, I can see what's the Jasmine's thinking process, and you can see easy to relate and easy to understand, easy to digest the case study. And it also creates a lot of buzz. Like people trying to see your case study, what did you do? And potentially at Google also can take a look here and their perspective, understand their perspective. I can also put you in the chat if you want to take a look. It's a great article. I recommend doing like this. I recommend this approach because I didn't talk about it. You can also watch in my in my talks here, I talk about, I give talks more focused for bootcamp students, where I talk about how creating these projects, you can reach out to LinkedIn, the people who are working on that particular company. For example, Dropbox. You did a case study on Dropbox, and you can reach out to the UX designer on LinkedIn. Hey, I did a case study on this, your product. I would like to get a feedback. You're not looking for a job, but I would like to get a feedback. You can get here is my link. So let's have a call for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So usually, most of them, from my experience and from my students' experience, most of the time, if you have done your homework, if you've done your work, if you're already helping them. So they generally offer 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes or even 30 minutes for review, help for you. So you can ask for like, hey, what things I did well and what things I didn't well, I can improve it. So you get a feedback. So that way you get to know the potential senior person on that company. And you can also express them like, hey, I'm open for UX roles. I'm actively looking for it. And if they think you are a right fit, they can reference you. And again, you're going to skip that competition. Again, I would not expect you to hunt for a job in the first talk, but I would expect you to have a more like kind of a, treat them like a mentor, treat them like a, get those perspectives from them, get those, like they might have a lot more tips for you than me. So improve and apply. So have like 4 to 5 mentors. That way you're gonna have like 5 mentors for free, and you can improve your portfolios and potentially have 5 people who can recommend you for other companies. It happened for me. I can talk about that later, or more details if you want.
Thank you. Can I just ask a quick follow-up on that, Anil? Are you aware of any risk of the company just taking the ideas or the work that was done and just running with it? Like, I have heard of cases like some guy designed an Apple Music new UI and they gave him a job. So that's pretty benign, right? But I could see there being some risk.
Yeah, I think I would treat, I'm not doing something where risk in terms of, I'm not going to lose some $1 million of money. This is, you have to approach in a sense where this is going to increase my virality. This is going to increase my awareness. Like, people are going to recognize me. I'm in the process of job hunt, and my strategy is to get more people familiar with me. So from that perspective, you're just talking about your principle. You're talking about your, I like to think like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not worried about people copying his product ideas. He's worried about how fast people innovate. So don't worry about it. So it should not matter for you, because you know you published this and the day before them. So take it positively.
Thanks.
Or even just, I was just thinking, like, sorry to just jump in here, but like, you know, putting it online as a blog post might even help, you know, like there's a timestamp to that. And then you've got the, kind of got
I
the
love that idea.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things are happening because I'm close to developer experience. The next big shift is happening, the web 3.0. If you are into web 3.0, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, you're gonna hear a lot. Everything is driven by community. Your innovation is driven by community. So nothing is happening in a secret way. Everything is happening in a community. So everything is shared, and community is like, they're kind of driving the innovation. So there's nothing like things are happening in a secret way. I can talk a lot about that, but just want to say that the community is a very, very powerful thing.
Awesome, thanks.
So just in terms of like, just check the time, maybe we can have like 1 or 2 more questions, if that's all right, Anil?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
And I don't know, I'm looking at the Google Doc again, and I kind of find this question here interesting. Do you have any advice for reaching out for informational interviews? So like, what material would you send, or who would you send them to inside of a company?
Do you have advice on reaching out to informational interviews? What's the meaning of informational interviews? That's not clear for me.
Maybe the person. Perfect.
Hi. Basically, it's if there's a company you're interested in that doesn't have a job posting up that fits your resume. Usually I'll reach out to a company and just be like, I'm interested in learning more about what you do and how you work. And it's actually, in the past, it's led to interviews and jobs for me.
Yeah, that's a good question. Most of the time, people don't care. The only way let people care is, I have actually one slide which I wanted to present, which I kind of skipped it for some reasons. I want to show that quote from Sahil, which talks about the same. It talks about the same. Yeah, this is one. How to get a dream job at your dream company. Research the company, use the product, find the CEO's email online, write a personable, specific email relying on your experience, suggest some ideas, report a bug, or include a small UX improvement. This is, I would change a little bit. You don't have to find a CEO. Even if you find some head of UX, VP of UX, even if you're able to find them on LinkedIn, even if they're able to find them on Twitter, find somebody who's a senior. I think that's the best way to get closer to them. I would follow these steps literally. And this is a way to get connected to them and see that you're really passionate on that company. And definitely they're gonna consider you, even though they might not have a job immediately, but definitely they might have a job in the coming years. They're definitely gonna consider you.
I guess what I'm asking for is in like a specific UX way, because I've done that before and been successful for engineering jobs. But is that like head of marketing or communication or design? Like which, I don't know. I feel like it's a really interdisciplinary kind of job. So is there a specific manager or director I should reach out to?
I think usually it's if it's a marketing related UX, then definitely the hiring managers are usually the head of marketing or head of UX. I would just look into their org structure, like which of this product belongs to, like who's working on. I'm going to check out their blog post on their company if they got any. Who wrote this? Is there somebody talking about it, their product? I go and check it on LinkedIn, like who's liking them. Usually it's the company people who are publishing, and so I'm gonna explore a little bit research on them, and I'm gonna see who's kind of person who's working on that. And also it relates to what I said in the previous answer, like get in touch with one of the immediate person, and then ask them, build a relationship with them, and then get to know about their org structure. Ask for like who's the person who's responsible for this. So definitely it's possible to know. Maybe I think it's a little bit of research and getting to know the org structure.
I think maybe like out of personal experience, I can jump in here. I feel like, reaching out to anybody in a company who has to do with UX, they will know and understand how much, value that UX writing can bring to the team. So if, I don't know, like personally, I think I would reach out to also what you said, Anil, right? To somehow something that connects to UX. Like if anybody in the company has a senior UX position, definitely reach out to them. And if you don't find anybody who has any like sort of UX position in that company, I would suggest, also again, going into what you've said, Anil, going into like a senior position. I think, like just describing the value that UX writing can bring to your product or the agency or whatever company that it is that you're looking at is a good way of getting in. Like if you're the first person to show them what UX writing may bring as a value to the company, then that would definitely catch their attention. Just to basically what you said. But
I have a quote. Don't be a job seeker, be a painkiller. When I say painkiller, try to show your value to them instead of just asking for help. Hey, I need a help. Those things. Already talk about it. Give them a context how you can bring value to them. It shows you did some research. It shows you have some really genuine interest to that product. So people general response, the tendency of response is really high when you come up with some preparation instead of just asking for them help. Yes, I can just go and search for the company and LinkedIn, just asking them randomly. I think people might ignore, but if I talk specifically and provide some context, definitely people are going to respond.
Cool, thank you.
All right, I think in regards to time, I think we would stop here for the Q&A session, but I'm sure, Anil, correct me if I'm wrong, people can of course reach out to you if they have any specific questions that that haven't been answered in this UX writing meetup.
Yeah. I think before we close, I just wanted to say that I also, you can take a look here. I collected it's already here. So I collected all the top UX writers portfolios. Just take them, they're really, really great. So I really like all of them. So there are many, but I could find only they're really great. Take a look. And I also gave a talk last year, like 3 talks on this job hunting. So you can also take a look if it's interesting for you. Yeah, would be nice really if you can give me the feedback. What did you like? Like it's anonymous again. That would be really nice. If you can share me the feedback, would be really great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anil. Thanks for all your valuable links and all your valuable tips. It's really been, I think I speak for the whole community when I say thanks so much. It's been valuable an hour and a half or hour and 10 minutes. So yeah, thanks for joining. Maybe quickly just to round this off, we have some news from the UX writing and content design meetup. So yeah, this is the talk that we've just seen. Exciting updates from us. We've now got a website. So, if you'd like to stay updated on the talks, such as the one that Anil just gave today, please feel free to go check us out on uxwritingmeetup.com. Like I said, you'd be updated on the upcoming talks we have planned. The videos of the past talks are on there. Find out how to become a speaker, how to donate $1 or $2, and more. So just as a quick update from our side, yeah. Or, always get in touch with us via email in case you have any questions or any follow-up, thoughts or comments. Really, yeah, we love hearing from you. Exactly. And then just as a closing statement, save the date. Our next meetup is planned for the 16th of March. It's with Charlotte Clausen, who is going to talk about eliminating the unknown error. And there's already a meetup page up online, so you can read up on the topic and the speaker already if you'd like. So yeah, with that, thank you all so much. Thank you, Anil, for being here today. It's really been a pleasure. And thank you for all of you for being here, listening, asking questions, and really the discussion has been great this time. So thanks so much, and wishing you all a really lovely Tuesday evening or morning or wherever you guys are. It's evening for us, but lovely Tuesday.